Hi everybody, I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified family coach, and I work with teenagers and support parents in educational institutions and in the workplace. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who share their experiences and their expertise and how they help and make a difference to people's lives. So today I'm super excited to be talking to Lisa. Lisa, please tell us about yourself and what you do.
Thank you. Lovely to see you, darling.
Yes, you do.
Well, my purpose ultimately is to help people believe in their incredible human potential, which sounds like a big marketing statement, but actually, I follow my heart, and my heart took me down a path of wanting to see people have an experience where their own belief, their own capability, their own brilliance was demonstrated to them. And one of the ways that I do it is in my empowerment events. And I'm a master trainer of empowerment and firewalking. And
Wow.
so the firewalking is the way I do it, and it can be done in a way of rah, 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 and yes, you've done it, and tick, and you've gone over the coals. That's not my style. My style is a way of where we raise our inner game, our mind and our heart with a goal, a dream that would blow our mind if we achieved it. And then we walk over the coals with that mindset. So it's mind with matter. And what happens when people achieve that or experience it is it really reshapes a whole set of beliefs that are no longer true about them. So for example, fire burns. Well, yes, it does, but under what circumstance does it not? And somebody last week, actually, this is a very long description, but I'm talking.
That's okay.
So I was running a walk last week for a company, and I was teaching them all about how the mind shapes what we see, how we see it, therefore what we believe and what we step into, and how big or small our goals are. And then the walking on the coals, when we walk over the red hot coals, we walk over with a goal in mind that our heart would absolutely love to experience. And so this lady said to me, "Can you demonstrate how we walk over the fire?" And I said, "Well, you just take 4 steps towards me now." And so she did it. And it wasn't over the fire, it was away from the fire. And she went, "Yeah, but how do I walk over the fire?" And I said, "What I'm teaching you is not how to take 4 steps. I'm teaching you how you step up in such a way that you can even walk over red hot coals. And that's not about what your feet are doing. It's what your mind and your heart is doing." Yeah. And so, but she created a brilliant learning opportunity, because so often we think that how we get the result is through the action that we take, but how we get the magical results, those ones that really make our life purposeful, is through the intention that we put into the action that we take.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly powerful. So igniting the fire within you. So can you tell us, I mean, you have touched on that. So can you tell us what made you decide this title? It sounds absolutely fascinating, and I'm already addicted to this title.
Well, we've all got an inner fire. We've all got an inner flame. And I think that's what we would probably call hope, if I'm honest. I think that inner light within us is our hope, and therefore our passion and our drive and our focus. And there are times when that flame is a little flicker, it's like that little blue flame that looks like it might go out. And there's times when our whole being is alive with it, and we're anything in between. And God forbid that flame ever goes out, because I think when we lose hope, then we lose our will for life. And so there's a real kind of inner responsibility to keep that flame going. And And it's when we're connected to our heart and what does our heart want, and it not being something fluffy, but it being something that requires courage to look at that. Because I think quite often in life we can set goals of what we think we should do, and I'm sure you've seen this in the work that you do. The goals that we think we should do, the goals that we see other people doing, what do our parents expect? What's a goal that won't make other people think badly of me? And they're all the head stuff, they're all the outside stuff that we don't really relate to. But when we take some time and really think about what does my heart want, what do I really want to experience, regardless of how achievable I think it is right now.
Right, yes.
Such a lot of courage. And I think over the last few years, what I have noticed for people is that the lockdowns and the fear has put a fire blanket over that inner flame. And so many people are having to push and pull themselves with such a lot of energy to go to work, to be the person they used to be. And what I know when people attend a fire walk, which is really an experience for the soul, that there's something that realigns them with themselves and who they are and their purpose that defies logic. And we need stuff that defy logic.
Yes,
We
yes.
require logic all the time. We get stuck with the logic, and that's what actually ends up holding us back. So, yeah, that's what I mean about igniting the fire within. It's about hope, it's about passion, it's about drive, it's about focus, motivation, but your own. What's inside yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. No, it sounds absolutely amazing. And I love that you say about, forgetting about logic, because it's so true, isn't it? Like when I have my clients, when you're stuck in your head, me too, them too, the answer doesn't come because you analyze it, you go round and round and you get stuck and nothing happens. But I really love what you say about connecting with your heart, your body, because that's where the truth is and that's where the answers are. And if we can just connect to that more, life can be so much simpler and more fulfilling. Yeah. But
absolutely.
But like what you were saying about the fireworks, so how does it work then, this? Because I'm so tempted to do it. It just sounds...
Oh, well, first of all, pick the teacher who has, or the trainer or the instructor, who you feel walks their talk and is like you can feel their spirit. And I mean that they're living and breathing who they are. So pick that person.
Yes.
Because I know you're a little bit away from me. Say that again.
So you mean somebody who's authentic?
Yeah. And that the fire is in the system and it's not just something they do for a living, like to make money. And that they're not doing it in pub car parks, because there's plenty of those out there doing it to make the money. They want to be the biggest in the country. For me, I want to create the biggest transformation. And if I do it within one human being, 1,000 firewalks will be worth it.
Oh my God. So how do you do it then? So what happens?
So, well, I think we have to have a purpose behind everything we do. And walking on coals, and without me going into my workshop, if you like, which I'd happily do.
No, yeah, tell us whatever you want to tell us.
I think that the purpose we give to an action is where the magic is. And I think that so last week, I was doing it as part of a 6-month management development program, and I was the finale fire walk. And what I teach about 30 learning points in the fire walk, that is translatable and transferable to life. So it's less about, I can say I've walked on fire, but it's about all the little models of thinking that I've taught that they can recall because they've had the experience. But out of a group of 12, there were 3 that said, I'm sorry, Lisa, but this is not for me. A bit out there. And I get it, because if you haven't spent time with me, you don't really understand it. And what you know of it is on YouTube. And that's not very heart-centered a lot of the time. And so what I did was, if the fire could ignite anything within you, enhance any relationship, create any goal. If there was, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What's the answer to that question? And if you start to shrink it down, expand it out, if I knew I couldn't fail, what would that be? If anything was possible, what would that be? And I really hold them to the size of that, because our mind naturally starts to shrink.
Yes. Even when you said it, I started feeling a bit scared.
Yeah. Because because our mind wants to keep us safe and protected.
Yes.
And what the fire does is it brings our focus. Like, if I have to answer this question to walk over fire, then what is the answer to that question? It's like a brilliant focus. It really gets our attention. But there's something pretty healing and powerful about being around a fire, isn't there?
Yes.
Even if you're with friends and having a barbecue and you sat around a fire, there's a kind of conversation that I've noticed that takes place that's more honest and more harmonious. Just sitting around the fire. But what we do is and then when people start to think about what is that for me, then I get them to do a process where their mind feels like they've already experienced it.
Oh wow.
So often when we're setting goals, we imagine if the goal was the equivalent of walking to the top of a mountain, that we set a goal looking at the goal from the bottom of the mountain. Like, we're looking up at it and we're thinking, God, the weather looks like it's coming in. What if I can't do it? What if my legs get tired? What if people get fed up that I'm going too slow next to me? We start to look at those things. So where I take people is, I want you to imagine you are at the top of that mountain. I want you to imagine that you're in the moment of your success. What does that look like? Who's around you? What they're saying? What are you wearing? What time of day is it? What can you hear? What do you feel? What's the air like? What does success look like for that particular goal? Now, still quite a few people will still think of a to-do list. So I had a gentleman on one trip said, oh yeah, my goal is I want to be more disciplined. Well, that's not the goal. That's the behavior, isn't it?
Yes.
We often think the behavior is the goal. The goal is, like, what is it you are experiencing in life? And I said to him, so tell me something that you would love to experience. And he said, well, I want to go back to my, what did he call it? It was some sort of martial arts, something. It might be, it wasn't kickboxing, but it was something like that. We'll say kickboxing. I want to go back to competing. And I said, okay, so you want to do a competition? Is that true? And he said, yes. I said, how do you feel when you think it? He said, I feel scared. I said, that's your goal. If you feel the adrenaline's coming to the surface, that's your goal. If you feel nothing, you feel like, yeah, I can do that. That's not your goal. That's already, you're already on that. Yeah. And so then I said, right, talk to me now about how you feel when you think about that goal. What are the sort of thoughts and feelings that come to the surface? And he started to tell me I'm a bit nervous and I'm out of shape and I need to do a lot more training. Then we stepped into the goal as if he's in the success of it. And so I said, describe to me what can you see? And he said, I can see the audience around, the spotlights are on me. I said, tell me what you just experienced. He says, I've won. Tell me what you can feel. He said, I can feel sweat, my body is bruised, my muscles are aching, I've got blood running down my face.
And he's closing his eyes, He's closing his eyes.
Closed, And that's a really good point, Justin, because when our eyes are open, we can't visualize. Because we're overstimulated. But when your eyes are closed, you create your own movie theatre, don't you?
Oh, I love it. I do it,
When your eyes are open, it's like watching Coronation Street and EastEnders over the top of each other. It's not possible. It's confusing and you can't relate. But when your eyes are closed, you're really in it. And I said, what can you hear around you? And it's like, I can hear cheering. I can hear people shouting my name. How do you feel? And it is just, and we could all feel his feelings because we demonstrated it in the room. And then we come back to the beginning and I said, how do you feel when you look at your goal now? He says, I want to go to the gym now. I want to go and do my training now. And so all of a sudden his goal wasn't the discipline. The discipline now already something he's really happy to do. He's got a really clear vision and he's experienced the vision, and that now his mind can't distinguish or differentiate between visualization and reality. It feels like I've visualized it, I've experienced it, so therefore it's inevitable. So he's got it locked in as his compass, and then therefore discipline and setting his alarm is, well, that's just what you do because that's where I'm going. And so so when people come to walk on the fire,
why do they need the fire? Sorry to interrupt. So what's the fire? So why do they need the fire then? If he's already got if he's already visualized it and everything.
Fire energy ignites it. And you imagine walking over red hot coals with that image in your mind.
Oh, so he has to have the image. He has to have the same image in his mind.
Yeah. That's how I teach people, that when you are doing any action, keep the outcome of what you're working towards in the forefront of your mind, and then how you show up and who you are during every action. And some of the actions we do towards our goals are boring, well, they're really flat out boring. But when you're really clear, I'm doing this action of that goal and that outcome is really valuable to me.
Oh my God.
Then we do show up in a quite high performance success mindset.
Yeah. So you're always imagining the outcome.
Always have the outcome, and that's our intention. That's what makes. I've worked with sales teams. I used to be in a sales team, so I know a salesperson's thinking. I never teach people how to sell. I teach them how to access their high performance in their mind. Then they'll put their sales skill that they already know into practice. But the teams I've worked with have had phenomenal sales results as a result of my training that we don't even talk about negotiating or we just talk about, we don't even talk, we go through the empowerment experience where their body has the experience, their mind has the experience of doing things that defy logic but are focused with purpose, total purpose.
But so we'll answer. So hi, Carol and Magda. We'll answer your questions in just a second. But so wait, I just need to get this clear. So they visualized it, they felt it, they've smelled, they've done everything, and then you say, and then they walk over the fire, but they're visualizing the outcome, like their goal is actually happening.
Yeah. It's very powerful, very powerful. And then, of course, you can go over joyfully, but you stay purposeful and connected to the fire as you do it. Because the minute that I've seen people say, I'm going to conquer that fire, and they've burnt the feet. I've seen people burn the feet.
Really?
Yeah, not on my firewalks, because I don't let anybody bring their ego to the fire, because I can see when that's going to happen, and I say, get back to what we work through. Get back to your intention. Get back to your heart. But
that just stops them burning themselves then.
Well, it's because you're aligning your energy vibration frequency with the vibration of the fire, which is a lot to get your head around. And I don't talk in those ways in workshops necessarily.
No, because it wouldn't.
I just get them to do it.
Of course, talking about, like we said before, because then you're in your head, aren't you? And it's not going to.
Yeah.
But what about, some people say, I always hear, have your goal and everything, but detach from the outcome.
Well, if you think about detaching from anything,
yeah.
If you think about it, that when you create a detachment, creates a gap, doesn't it? And it's in that gap that's been created that injury can happen, on whether it's emotional, mental, or physical. It's where doubt creeps in. It's where creep in. So it's about being okay with whatever you experience, but knowing in your heart what you really want and working wholeheartedly towards it. I think a lot of people, and I hear this, I think the number one barrier to people getting really clear about what their goals are is the fear of, what do you think I'm going to say?
Fear of failure. I don't know.
That's the obvious one, but it's actually what surpasses that.
Fear of success.
Fear of disappointment.
Oh.
The fear of disappointment, yeah. And not the fear of, and then fear of success, and then fear of failure. But the number one reason people shrink their goals down is the fear of disappointment. And yet when I ask people, just describe what disappointment actually is. And it isn't anything. It isn't anything. It's a thought. It isn't, you can't feel it physically. The world around you change. It is just a thought.
Yes.
Cover your heart for a moment or longer. And so people don't realize the relationship between the fear of disappointment and shrinking their goals, because it happens so quickly, and it's in our unconscious thinking, not our conscious thinking. And what the fire does is it brings you right into your consciousness. It makes us really conscious, and we're not conscious all the time.
No, we're living in our, what did they say? The body is your unconscious mind, and we're just living.
We're sleepwalking.
We're programmed. Yeah. Like sleepwalking. Exactly.
And we know we're sleepwalking when we have something in the diary and we go, oh God, I've got that. Why did I say yes to that talk, or being on the radio, or that kind of thing? I wish I hadn't, and then I could just relax. And really what we're saying is, I wish I hadn't said yes so I could keep staying asleep.
Wow. Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Let me, yes. Let's just say hi to Carol. Hi, Carol. Haven't seen you for so long. And Carol says, how often do you have to visualize something to actually manifest it? That's a great question, Carol.
Well, I think we've got a lot of spare time that we use for imagining things, don't we? And quite often our mind, left to its own devices, will imagine what we don't want and what could go wrong. And I think if we stay conscious, we can keep it imagining what we do want. But it's not just the visualizing it that works, it's the belief system that is coded in, and getting clearer on what is my belief system. So about money, so it might be visualizing lots of money or paying off my mortgage, but really I'm doing it. But if underneath I have a belief about money that hasn't been resolved, or better relationship with money, I can still only ever co-create what is aligned with my belief, regardless of what I'm telling myself to visualize. So it's visualize with accurate belief, not forcing a new belief there, but looking for where their evidence is for the new belief, and then visualize with feeling. So what we visualize with feeling, we manifest.
So basically, it's working on ourselves, isn't it? It's deeply working on yourselves, because you've got to really get to the core of your beliefs and what they are. And
it's a big job, this inside job, as Carol obviously knows, because she's a coach herself. The inside job's the biggest job. I was working with somebody today, and the biggest part of the work that she needs to do is not on the actions, it's on changing, getting her head around the change she wants to make. And so the biggest part, turning the ship around, is sailing the ship, putting it into gear, or whatever we do with ships, is the easy bit, but it's getting our head around something. And then when the head's around it, then you're away with it. But the biggest support I give people is holding the space and challenging and reflecting, and holding them to their big vision, not shrinking it down. So
brilliant. Yes. And this, I think, before we do that, because you can do it, I think we need to do that many times, don't we? It's not just once and then it's done. You have to keep sort of directing the ship, don't you? And sometimes I think it's so, you can just become stuck, because the thought of change in direction of that ship can just seem so overwhelming, even though you know it's the right thing to do. And once you've done it, it will sail away nicely. But sometimes you just get stuck, don't you, in your thoughts? I don't know, like, do you have any sort of tips where you can, or would you to get over that, or would you say just do something? I mean, that's what I normally say, do something, but I don't know.
Agree. I completely agree. I think always start with, what would I love to experience? Brainstorm that and separate. If your mind keeps coming up with, but you don't have to do this and you don't have to do it. Once you get really clear on what the goal is and how amazing it would be and is going to be, and you've put yourself in it, like Carol says, visualize, and you're in it, then and you take your first action. I always say, make sure your first action is no turning back action, like the kind of action that puts you right in the game. And it's usually an announcement, you know, when you out yourself.
Yes.
You know, do an announcement that means I've now, you know, your own medicine by announcing something. I also think be really careful who you tell your goals to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there are people like you and I and Carol that would blow the wind in your sails and be like really for it. And then there's some people that are less aware, I guess, it's no fault of theirs, that might be saying, yeah, but be careful about that. And you tried something similar a few years ago and it didn't work. Are we not stepping into a recession? Is this the best time? And, you know, wait till you get to summer. For some reason, they feel that they want to contribute in some way. But
Yes.
what they do is they put the fire blanket over our inner flame for all the best reasons.
Yes.
Really choose who is going to put the wind in my sails rather than take the wind out of my sails. Who am I going to speak to? Who's just going to listen to me whilst I, you know, whilst I'm so passionate about this goal, and allow me to talk around it in every way without trying to anyway.
No, that's brilliant advice. Thanks, Lisa. And Magna says, show up for the why and the how will introduce itself.
Yeah. I love that, Magna. It's absolutely true. You know, when you get clear about your purpose, because lots of people lead with the how. What's my knowledge of the how, and therefore all that they're ever doing. And it's the reason why I'm different when I go into businesses. If you look at your current knowledge and your current how, all you're going to do is forecast what result that can get. But what I do when I go into businesses or work with managing directors is forget what you've currently got. What would you love to achieve in the business? And then what then do we need to do to create that? Rather than what have we got in place now and what's possible from that? Because people can show up in such a fabulous way. I've often had people say, what you do, I don't think my team's ready for. I can absolutely promise without a shadow of a doubt, everybody's team is ready for it. It's whether your belief in them is up to speed with their belief.
100%. And Carol says, finding the right support and accountability has been key for me. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
No, thanks, Carol. No, there's so much to say on this and time's running out, but I've talked to you all day, Lisa, but no, it is so fascinating. And you're right. I think you just have to decide, you just have to trust yourself, don't you? Make that decision, take that step and trust that the how will introduce itself. Because I think because I used to always be like, how am I going to do this? But actually, that actually keeps you stuck. You've just made me realize what I've been doing, even though I think sometimes I'm not as aware as I think. Because I think that's what's kept me stuck with some things, because I keep thinking, how am I going to do this? But that's not actually a good question, is it? Because forget the how. What do you want to do and just start?
Start with the first step, and it's like a snowball. It can gain momentum. Yes. And it's interesting that once you start it, you also have a perception of looking for more answers, and they show. Yes. They get
committed.
Yeah. And I also just very quickly with our goals, our mind will show us what it can do that allows us to start moving towards it, but then they can get bigger and bigger. It's a bit like our mind starts releasing more chapters of what's possible as you start moving towards it.
Yes.
As you say, Jasmine, take one step is better than no steps. And don't wait to be perfect, because you never will be. As my mentor says, perfection is safe for God. So to think that we can aim for it is delusional and a waste of our time, and life's happening right now.
Yes. No, definitely. And hi, Debbie. Debbie says, great insight, ladies. When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. And it's completely true, the will being the purpose, but you have to work out what that purpose is and why it matters to you.
Yes.
So that's that connection rather than detachment piece. You know, when you think about, we famously talk about the mother that can lift the car up off a baby. But could the mother lift the car up for no reason? No. But if a baby is stuck, should be even able to lift the car up. And that's what the value of heart and purpose brings to anything, is
wow,
totally defy logic.
wow. No, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on. Can I just ask you another question about the fire? So would you recommend, somebody needs to do that just once and then they can always sort of train themselves? Or do you think every time you have a goal, you should walk across the fire, because then it will happen?
The fire, once you walk over the fire, you will forever have that model in your system.
Oh, okay.
I have people that come to lots of my fire walks because they're ready for the next layer, the next, like one lady, Kate Hutchinson, she won't mind me saying, came on my fire walk, and then the following week she set up Sustainability Week in Leeds. She just had this epiphany. Wow. She got all the venues on board. She's got loads of partners wanting to be part of it. But there was just something that got ignited within her.
Yes.
And all the obstacles fell away to the side. And she's just full of passion for this. All the answers are coming to her. The right people are coming to her. The vision's getting clearer. And so she's coming on the next one in January. She's like, what's next? What else is possible? Wow. So either way, it's fine. It's just whatever you feel drawn to.
It really unlocks something, doesn't it? When you do something like that, I feel like it unlocks something in your brain and you can see something else. So it opens up something so you can receive different answers. Yeah. No, I really want to do it. You've totally inspired me. But is there anything else? Sorry?
So it's a long way, but you're very welcome.
Yeah. But I will be coming back to the UK in February. So I don't know if you're doing it
for you in February.
You have to let me know the details, but I am a bit scared. But what was I going to say? Is there anything else you want to say before we go about that? And also, you can tell us, you mentioned some events. I don't know if you want to mention those and how people can contact you as well.
So my next fire walk is, I think it's the 12th of January. It's a Thursday, the 12th of January in York. And a real adventure for the soul. It's about planning your 2023 really and igniting it with the fire and being amongst other people that will feel exactly the same way as you do. I'm also kickstarting International Women's Week on the Sunday, 5th of March, with a full-on empowerment event in York, where I'm not going to be shy about it. People don't have to do everything that we're going to do. There's a mixture of speakers, panels, and then a really fabulous empowerment session where people become their own source of inspiration and are forever changed. That'll be on my website as well. It's powerforsuccess.co.uk. And then I'm taking a group, men and women, to Kilimanjaro, 5th to the 15th of October.
When?
5th to the 15th of October, 2023.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. And maybe you could put your links on the post, like your website and everything in the links. But thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you so much for everybody who joined. If you have any questions, you want to message Lisa directly or me or in the chat, that's absolutely fine. We'll get back to you. But thank you so much, Lisa. It has been an absolute pleasure. There's so much more to say. So we're going to have to do another live next year. And I will see everybody next week. Oh, no, I won't be here. No. Yes, one more next week. Okay. I'm getting confused now with the Christmas holidays. All right, see you later.
Bye, lovelies.
Bye-bye.